All right, amazing. We'll go live on Facebook. Okay, we are live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode number 4 of the Blossoming Into You show. I am so excited and honored that you are tuning in again today. And with me on here, we have Ruth all the way from Canada. We'll be talking about how to date again after divorce and betrayal. And I think this is such a beautiful and powerful topic to discuss because personally for me, I experienced all my biggest breakthroughs in my journey after a massive heartbreak. So, with that being said, Ruth, welcome, and I'm so honored to have you.
Thanks for having me. It is my great pleasure to join your show, Blossoming You, and I can't wait to learn more about the journey that you're on, and hopefully it'll be fun experience for me.
Mm, amazing. And I do want to take some time, Ruth, to really acknowledge you, your beautiful presence, and how much you took initiative and reached out and connected with me after watching a recent Facebook Live that I did about my weekend in New York and just experiencing connecting with women like yourself who are so vulnerable and authentic and willing to share your story and your journey with such wide open heart. It's so inspiring. And thank you for being on here, courageously sharing with us your journey and your story as a way to give other women a permission to also share about themselves in a way that maybe they never have before. So thank you.
Yes, and it's wonderful work that you're doing, and I am glad to be able to do that and be vulnerable and be open.
Amazing. So let's dive into this. I think this is a really juicy topic and also really fun. I personally believe. Tell us more, like as we're speaking right now in this moment, what's been sitting in your heart? Like what is something that you feel called to share right now?
I would say that my um, marriage started in January on January 1st, 2011. It's really interesting how 1111 it was a really great beginning. But unfortunately it ended and then leaving me a lot of um, trauma and doubt about myself, who I was, and what I really wanted in life. And, just realizing that what I once thought was happiness wasn't really happiness. And seeing myself at the end of it, I saw myself as the problem. And I blamed myself and just didn't realize how much healing I needed. And sometimes I looked to wrong places and looked to men, looked to my own beauty, and I wanted to look beautiful. I wanted to do these things better. I wanted to do more and be more because I felt like I was not enough.
We can all relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so okay, keep going.
And another thing that I really grab hold on to was my definition of love and also my definition of um, my husband, my ex husband, because I think that I idolized him and whatever he felt, whatever he thought of me was who I was. And so my value wasn't coming from myself and God. I think it came from external circumstances and my relationships I was in, how I felt in that relationship, and how he was performing for me, and how I was performing for him. And so it kind of really made me look into what is this about performance? What is love? Where did it all go wrong? And it was the first time in my life I was so blessed to have a space in my head, in my heart, to really look into my past and myself. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's in a way, you spoke about that earlier today, is that, sometimes difficult things are a blessing in disguise.
Yes, yes. And on hindsight, we can always see that, right? When we're in the middle of the painful process and the journey, sometimes it's hard to see, but now that it's in the past and you can look back and reflect on everything 11 January 11, 2001, like that, it's actually a beautiful beginning of your journey of discovering yourself and getting to know yourself on this intimate level. So tell us, like, where are you at now, like with all these awareness, what are some things that you know about yourself, or where is still the gap for you in your relationship with yourself or with men? What's in the gap now?
Um, to tell you the truth,
Mhm.
I craved man's affirmation when my relationship ended, and and I was living in this imagination that someone like princess, like somebody that is so much better, would just take me off of my feet and just, we ride into sunset. um but um it wasn't enough. It still I still managed to find faults in, men and myself.
Mhm.
And I was trying to navigate, when is enough time for me to take to heal? When am I able to move on? So that was the gap for me. And just to realize that I'm enough. I
Mhm.
don't need anybody or anything to show for. And I don't have to have a man to prove my worth. And a lot of a spouse that comes from an abusive relationship, especially sexual relationship that is kind of based on control and power and addiction, infidelity. Women tend to um, value their physical appearance
Mhm.
because that's how women are conditioned conditioned in this type of relationships. So for me to know that I don't have to show up in the best makeup and with the best hair, although I did this for you, but it's not um, to prove any self, to prove
Mhm.
my worth or prove to anybody.
It's for
And
yourself.
mhm,
Yeah, I like to see like taking time to dress up, to put on makeup on. It's a sacred act of self-love. It's you honoring your beauty, it's you honoring your body, and I think it's a beautiful thing. And you do it for yourself and not do it for other people. But at the same time, I believe that beauty is to be expressed, is to be admired, is to be seen by other people, is to be
mhm.
shared. Yeah.
Yeah, more than ever, I, um, you know, enjoy my beauty and my body, and you taught me that. So
Oh,
thank you very much. Okay, I have to
okay.
say some really kind of interesting that I shared.
Sure. Yeah.
You were dancing and you were just enjoying yourself, and I try to tap into that, and I begin to really unleash this feeling of satisfaction. And
Mhm.
I started like sleeping without anything on.
Me too, girl. Me too. Full transparency with audience. I don't like to sleep with clothes on. It's so liberating. It feels
I
amazing.
I had done that before I met you, so
Really?
yeah, it was really amazing just to
Ah,
feel my body and
yeah.
just against soft bed sheets and just like,
Mm-mm.
yeah, I was really enjoying who I was made, like how my body felt and how I was made to enjoy that.
Oh, I love it. And Ruth, I would love to encourage you to watch this again, like at a later time, and really witness yourself blossoming in a way when you share that. Like there's some sense of liberation that I felt in you, and you just glowed up in that moment when you shared it. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Something as silly as like sleeping without clothes on.
And
Sometimes
I
you
put perfume on too.
I love it. I love that. I'm experiencing what I'm hearing you say is you took the time to honor your body, really treating it as a sacred thing that it is. Like it really is.
Mm. I
Yeah.
used to crave, a man to tell me that I was a queen and I was beautiful. So I
Mhm.
relied on somebody else to tell me that. And sometimes I would ask for that and I would, in a way, pressure to get what I need.
Right.
Um, but now when I do that at bedtime and honor my body, I feel like I'm focused on just honoring myself, my pleasure. I don't need anybody to tell me.
Mhm.
And that's a
Mhm.
huge breakthrough. So thank you.
So tell us more about that. Like, how does it feel? This no amount of validation or approval or affirmations from others can fill up this like void in our heart the way that we do with ourselves. So what do you notice in the difference when you are honoring your own body, like maybe acknowledging it, showering it with love and affirmation? How is that different from the ones you received from men in the past?
Um, I think that with men, I give to the point that I hurt myself.
Mm,
Um, so my boundaries are not honored. Whereas with me, I know where my boundary is and I never cross it with me.
mm,
So, for me, coming out of this marriage, I really, even from um, my childhood, I really didn't know how to set boundaries. And I subject myself to the point of pain to
mhm.
receive what I needed. In the process, I would cross my boundaries, my own boundaries. I would give myself more than I felt comfortable in the way that I don't feel comfortable. Whereas with me, I feel like I can trust myself. I can never hurt me when I receive that love and pleasure. So for the first time, I am learning to really set boundaries because now I'm familiar with my own boundaries because I am experimenting. I'm learning to cherish me, and I think my brain is picking up what it means to be cherished.
Mhm.
And so when a man tries to cherish me, then I will have a better chance at recognizing what it is that I need rather than trying to give them what they need because I don't know is where my boundaries are. And so I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes total sense.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting chills run down my body right now. And I get that a lot. I get that a lot when I'm like coaching people or listening to others share about their breakthroughs. Like I just feel so much resonance with what you're sharing because it all starts with us. The intimacy, the pleasure, the deep love and connection, it all starts with us before we can experience that with people around us. And it's so important that we even take the time. Most of us don't know what our boundaries are because we never taken the time to get clear on that. And I can absolutely relate to you when you said like you used to give yourself so much to a point where it hurts, like in a way to get love or attention or validation or approval from others, especially men. Like somehow there's this relationship where I discover, for me personally, like it was because growing up, my dad was always busy working, so like I didn't feel like I had that safety and security from like the father figure in my life. So I grew up always being this like super independent, like I got this woman that didn't know how to receive any support, any intimacy. I became this like super masculine woman that hustle and grind and saw my worth in my success and my relationships, like in men's validation. So that was it for me. What do you feel like, Ruth, it was the case for you, like that led to the people pleasing or to give yourself way too much, like especially with men?
Um, I was terrified of losing men,
Mm,
because it meant that I was not worthy,
mhm,
or that I was rejected. Um, and I think that, um, the rejection part is actually not true, because, sometimes we feel like people are rejecting us, but simply it is being removed from us so we can, um, find a better things in life. So, in a way that we're not trusting, the higher power or universe, how you call it, God, for me,
mhm,
and saying that when somebody's being removed out of my life, it is for my protection, it is for my good. And so, before I had that healing, before I had healing, I realized that losing men means losing love,
mhm.
which directly speaks to my worth. I'm not worthy.
And
But
where did that come from? Ruth, where did that come from? Like the fear of losing man equaled it not worthy. Where did that come from?
I guess, growing up in South Korea, I was raised there, uh,
Mm,
for the first 16 years of my life.
mhm,
Um, I looked very exotic for Korean.
mm,
And so I remember my grandfather, telling me that I was very beautiful and that I needed to be careful, because, a lot of people would tell me that would they would ask me to go to Miss Korea pageant.
mhm,
Grandpa made me promise, like, that I shouldn't do that, because being beautiful, um, um, is not, going to pageant is not an honorable thing. You want to have a brain and you want to have a good job, and so he, somehow spoke into me, this message that being beautiful, somehow isn't good.
mhm,
Being beautiful isn't something to be enjoyed, or to be, cherished, or be proud of, or be happy. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah.
there was a negative message about beauty in that moment. And
So you were conditioned or taught from people that you trusted, that you looked up to, that beauty was a dangerous thing to maybe embody, to express. But at the same time, I can almost, I'm sure there were moments in your life as you grew up that you also saw that sometimes when you are being beautiful, then you got love from people. So it was this mixed message that you got.
exactly, yeah. And I remember as a teenager, I went to this church in, this small town,
Mhm.
and it was a Korean church, and girls wouldn't sit next to me. And, the pastor asked, "Why are you not sitting next to that new girl?" And, they were like, "She's too pretty." And so there's another negative message for my looks. I can't control how I look, but
Mhm.
apparently grandpa told me it's bad. These kids obviously don't like me because of the way I looked, or maybe their standard of beauty isn't, I don't know, different. I don't know. I remember never going to that church again.
Mhm.
So I felt like I was discriminated for the way I looked, and some people said I was beautiful, but there was always a conflict, right? And then as a young adult, I discovered that me being beautiful, me being naked, had power
Mhm.
over men, which is
Mhm.
not very healthy. And so I discovered that.
Mhm.
And I think that is the pattern that I set that um, was not healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. What I'm hearing you say, it's almost like growing up, you were taught this very, mm, I don't know if I should use the word toxic, but this relationship that you had with your own beauty, your own feminine essence, your own magic of being a woman, a beautiful woman, you develop a relationship that wasn't functioning with it. And growing up, maybe you learned to use it in certain ways that didn't serve you, or it wasn't creating healthy like relationships or results in your life
Hmm.
because of the mixed messages that you got.
Yes. And I begin to have I would say I begin to have unhealthy self concept in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I covered my boobs. I,
Mm-hmm.
I was always walking this way, and I wore no makeup. I wanted to look, I wanted to conceal
Mm-hmm.
my beauty. Like I didn't want to show anybody my beauty because I would felt very confused about that. And at the same time, I felt like no one would love me or nobody would find me attractive. And so, like it's just like all mixed up.
Yeah.
And it was when I was 21, I became an easy prey for somebody that would find me beautiful and attractive.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave it all away, only to feel like still it's not a solution for me. So
Mm-hmm.
unhealthy relationship with the messages that given or given to me,
Yeah.
and I didn't know how to process that. And um and I think that it worked kind of warped my view of love, beauty, and sex.
Self
And it,
worth. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and this is so powerful, Ruth. Like, thank you for opening up this dialogue for not only like whoever's listening, but like for women everywhere, because I am almost sure, like without a doubt, that this is something that all women experience. Like we get all these mixed messages from like advertisement or music videos or social media or our parents or schools, like all these mixed messages about like our sexuality, our body, like our sexiness and what sex means, like all of that. It's so toxic. And they know why. Like people who are doing this know why, because this power that we have, it's our life force. Like sexual energy, woman, like this feminine essence is powerful. It's magnetic when we know how to channel it, when we know how to have a working relationship with it. We just show up differently when women embrace that, like embrace this side of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you are doing an amazing job telling people how to embrace our own beauty and our own self, our own, gift from God in a way, And I'm still figuring out. I'm
Mhm.
still figuring out how to be healthy towards the way I take care of myself,
Mhm.
not overdo it,
Mhm.
but not underdo it. Like not um, just, you know what I mean? Like not taking care of yourself, like. And so I'm trying to find a balance because I was so unhealthy And the only reason I looked good was because I wanted to show myself to somebody for the affirmation. But
Mhm.
now I dress up for girlfriends.
Yes. For interviews like this.
I dress up for myself to when I'm all by myself, going to bed. And I am learning really to find out what it is that um, is healthy for me. And so eventually, I want to be able to approach an opposite sex and, be able to have healthy um, love, not this power trip, not this distorted,
Manipulative.
yeah, distorted version of whatever that it was that I had. And
Mhm.
yeah, I'm learning to be vulnerable and love someone, um, not based on fear and control, but love a person for, um, who that person is fearlessly.
Yes.
And whether it be a girlfriend, um, boyfriend, I don't know yet. But
And Ruth, I do want to let you know, and for any woman out there listening, like if they feel called and resonating with this like conversation and all of the work that we do every single day of learning how to love ourselves and honor our body and taking the time to cherish ourselves, like this work is so powerful because I fully believe that a woman in her divine feminine essence, like so solid in her relationship with herself, respecting herself, honoring herself, loving herself, cherishing herself, a woman that shows up this way inspires and evoke and call forth from the man the qualities of the divine masculine. Like it calls forth from the men like respect and a sense of like they know how to show up around an essence of a woman like that. So in a way, like the more women know how to respect ourselves, like it is going to create a ripple effect of rising up the divine masculine in men. So that's so powerful work that you're doing. And I do want to say thank you for that.
thank you. I think
Yeah.
it's my desire to help women out there that are struggling with their own um, way to relate to themselves and to an opposite sex or people that they love. And I think that there's an unhealthy attachment and obsession about getting affirmation
Mhm.
elsewhere.
And we do this everywhere, not just with men, like social media, the number of likes. Like we are addicted to the engagement, addicted to the notifications that pop up, and even to success. Like so many of us are driven by success and like get the results, get the money. But even those can be a something that we're seeking validation and approval from.
Hmm. Imagine if that is the case. Um, People that are single, like yourself and me,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have validation as much as somebody who's with, success. Well, I think we're successful. Somebody with men, so you are just showing and influencing in people to stay. Being single is not less than. Being
Mhm.
single can be fulfilling as much as being with somebody,
Yeah.
um, or not. Like it's, in my healing coaching, I tell, my clients and people, you don't really need someone else to heal you. You don't need your spouse to act certain way for you to receive healing. It's all up to you. It's the same thing. There's so much power within us. We just don't, I guess, understand it sometimes until somebody like you comes along and reminds us of our value.
Yeah, it's important that you said reminding because we do all have all the answers within. Like I'm a firm believer of that. And no amount of coaching like any of us do. I don't believe in telling people like this is what you got to do, but more so like creating the space for them to awaken the answers within them. And that's what I believe in. Rufus, we are wrapping up. Our time is coming to the end. I would like to hear just from you really quickly, like after everything that you have discovered about yourself, getting intimate with who you are from your experiences in relationship, how would you define love now? What is your outlook on love?
I would say the love is definitely based on foundational, foundational love for yourself. It's
Mhm,
basically who you are, in the way that God made you, the creator. And I think that if you don't know your value and you don't know your worth, no one else will tell you,
mhm,
because you are the one that talks to yourself all the time, and you're the one who sees you all the time. And so, until I became single, until I became, I had nobody else to turn to, didn't learn this lesson. So it was a very, very tough lesson for me. I had nobody else. So, so it's really wonderful to have a connection within yourself, the spirit in you. We're able to, figure things out because we're not alone. We have God, we have the higher power, however you want to call it, whatever you believe in. And so to me, that's how I define love: is how much do you value yourself? Do you know you're loved? Do you know you're lovable? I think that's where it starts. That's your foundation. And I
mhm.
want love to be just like divine love that is defined by God, not just human love, because I feel like we tend to use each other for our own benefits.
Absolutely. It's like I need something from you, got to fulfill something that I don't have right now. So that's
Yeah.
why we get mad, right? A lot of relationship fights is because you didn't do what I wanted you to do to make me feel this way. It's a very needy kind of love.
Yes. And based on fear of losing somebody. You're only doing this because if you don't, you'll lose them. I mean,
Yeah,
that's not love,
it's possession.
possession and obsession. And
Yes.
it's also selfish. And so, I'm figuring out what is not love, but I just want to know more about how to love myself better, in the way that God would love me, and that I would love somebody else with that same kind of love.
Hmm.
And that
And
is love for
that's a
me.
really beautiful definition. And I want to add on to that. Like for me personally, every time when I had the hardest heartbreak, like how I shift out of those pain is to get to a place where love to me means appreciating the other person, seeing them at their highest. And when I can focus so much outward on like, it's almost like love to me is also means being inspired to be the best version of myself so that I get to see through the eyes of God, like what you said, or source or higher power,
Mm.
and hold this other person in total, utter, unconditional appreciation. So, like, even if it's a person that hurt me so badly, but if I can give that kind of appreciation now, it's almost like instantly the healing happens for me.
Wow. So seeing somebody else with unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
Not only you give that to yourself, but you give that to others. Wow.
Yeah, like love is an opportunity for us to be a vessel of like God's love out to them and just appreciating them with that unconditionality. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
And
Thank
that's the best kind of love, right? I think so.
Yeah, some you can find, um, you know, things that you can appreciate about anybody out
Mhm,
there. Um, just I'm learning to fall in love with humanity.
mhm. It starts with you. Yes, you get to unconditionally fall in love with yourself. This was such a beautiful, magical conversation, Ruth. I just want to say thank you again for being a stand with me, like alongside with me, and empowering women everywhere to do this deep healing work so that we create this massive ripple effect that we are literally transforming the world as we speak right now. Because when we do the healing, we heal the world. It all starts with us. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for healing me, being part of my healing journey. And thank you for having me on your show. And I honor and appreciate you so much and what you do, what you mean to me, and I'm sure for many other women out there.
I'm just feeling so much love right now just to like recognize this was only our second time connecting, but like how connected I feel with you, like across I mean, you're in Canada, I'm in California. I don't know how far that is, but like the deep connection that we can create across like virtual, it's so beautiful for me. And like, yeah, this is beautiful. And thank you everyone for tuning in today. Like, I hope this landed for you. Whatever is resonating, please share with us, like on the comments or reply back to the email, whatever it is. And really give your voice, like add your voice to the dialogue, like what's being evoked in you, what's being inspired in you, share with us. Like me and Ruth would love to hear all about it. And if you would like to be a guest on my show and come on and have a beautiful conversation, share your story, I would love to have you. I'll put the link for the application somewhere in the comments, and looking forward to talking with you. Ruth, any last word you would like to leave the audience off with?
No matter where you are, I just want you to know that you are wonderfully and fearfully made and by someone bigger than yourself. And being alone, being hurt and broken is not the end. It's an opportunity to really love yourself because, you know, if you don't start from there, you won't learn how to love yourself like I had to do. And it's hard work. And I consider healing and loving exactly the same because when you're healed, you can love better. Um, and I think that um, when you're hurt, you hurt people. And, the worst part about it is that you don't know that you're hurting often because we are so broken and blinded by hurts. So it is so important to have somebody like Miko, community, to help you point it out how to heal, how to love, because sometimes we can't do it on our own because it's too difficult. I had so many people helping me and I had Miko helping me. So I hope that people would be connected more than ever to heal and to love. That's my last words for them.
You are so beautiful, Ruth, inside and out, just like this angelic presence. Thank you for that lovely message. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Until next time, really honor yourself. Let yourself soak in what's been landing for you and integrate everything that you heard today. And I'll see you next time. Bye, Ruth.